Hello everyone, I'm a bit early right now. Today's lesson is going to be on the past forms of to be. So this is today's lesson. Basic English to be past tense, lesson 2, and today's date is August 15, 2024. In past tense, to be has two forms, was and were. We use was and were depending on the subject. You can see here that we use was with I and with he, she, it, or any singular subject means one person or one thing. There is one exception for you. If it is singular or plural, we use were. If I'm talking to you and you are just a one person, I will still say were. And then we use were for the plurals, like more than one subject. For example, we. We means that I'm including at least one more person with me, or they, or my friends. More than one people, we use were with these kind of subjects. Here are some positive sentences with past tense of be forms. I was at home. You were in the park. She was happy. He was happy. It was a happy. It was an happy event. We were in class. They were at the zoo. My friends were there. My friend was there. My friends is plural. So they were there. But my friend, who is one person, was there. Let me see if there are some people here. No, it's all right. You can watch them. Um, you can watch the lesson later because it will be recorded. Let's compare the present and the past form of to be. Remember in lesson 1, we had learned the present form of to be. And it also depends on the subject. I am is the present form. Past form is I was. We have replaced am with was. Remember, there are 3 present forms of to be: am, is, and are. But there are 2 past forms, was and were. I am, I was. He is, he was. She is, she was. It is, it was. Present form, you are. Past form, you were. Present form, we are. Past form, you were. Were. Pay attention to the vowel sound when I'm saying were. We were. They were. Let's compare the examples. Example sentences with present form. I am tired. I was tired. Remember the contractions? Usually we don't say I am tired. We say I'm tired. I'm. I was tired. She's at school. I'm not saying she is at school. We do write it like that. She is at school. But when we speak to sound natural, we say she's at school. She's, she's at school. She was at school. You're happy. You were happy. We are in class. We were in class. They are at the park. They were at the park. Okay, moving on. Let's turn these sentences into the past tense. I will read the sentence and tell me the past form of it in the comments. I'm happy. The past form is I was happy. You are my friend. You're my friend. I write it like this. You are my friend, but I say you're my friend. You were my friend. He's a teacher. He was a teacher. She's my sister. She was my sister. It is a sunny day. Or it's a sunny day. It was a sunny day. We are at the park. We were at the park. They are students. They were students. The cat is on the bed. The cat was on the bed. You are early today. You were early today. I'm in the kitchen. I was in the kitchen. He's a good boy. He was a good boy. She's a doctor. She was a doctor. It's a big house. It was a big house. We are ready to go. We were ready to go. They are in the garden. They were in the garden. The dog is hungry. The dog was hungry. You are very kind. You were very kind. I'm at home. I was at home. She is tired. She was tired. We are excited. We were excited. Okay, now moving on. Let's complete the following past tenses, past tense sentences using was or were. Was or were. She was very happy. They were at the party last night. I was late for the meeting. The weather was cold last week. We were excited about the trip. He was not at home when I called. You were a great student in school. The dogs were barking all night. My friends were in the library. It was a beautiful day. So these are the answers. Moving on. How to turn the positive or affirmative past sentences with to be into negative. You simply add not after was or were. For example, you see, I was not. You you were not. He he was not. she was not. It was not. You were not. You were, we were not. They were not. Example sentences. I was not excited yesterday. You were not tired yesterday. He was not busy yesterday. She was not surprised yesterday. It was not cold yesterday. You were not pleased yesterday. You were not interested yesterday. They were not happy yesterday. Now, this is how we write. This is how we usually say or write in the informal writing. For example, if you are writing a comment or writing a WhatsApp message to a friend, you will use contractions. So these are contractions. When was and not are combined together and it becomes I wasn't. Now pay attention to write wasn't, you will drop O, replace with apostrophe and remove the space and it will become like this, wasn't. So usually when we speak, we don't say I was not excited yesterday. I wasn't excited yesterday. Similarly, were not is contracted to weren't. How we do it? We remove O from not, replace with apostrophe, and remove the space between were and not, and we write it like that. Weren't. You weren't. You weren't tired yesterday. He was not. He wasn't. He wasn't busy yesterday. She was not. She wasn't. She wasn't surprised yesterday. It was not. It wasn't. It wasn't cold yesterday. We were not. We weren't. We weren't pleased yesterday. You were not. You weren't interested yesterday. They were not. They weren't happy yesterday. Now, common mistake what people make is when they contract, sometimes they write it like that was, then put apostrophe, and then put N and T. This is wrong. You put apostrophe after N by removing the space between was and not. So remember that always. And always end the sentence with a period. Say or write these sentences using was or were not and once using wasn't or weren't. These are the positive sentences. You have to turn them into negative in full form and in the contracted form. I was tired. You can write in the comments. Make the negative of I was tired. I was not tired, but I wasn't tired. You were late. You were not late. You weren't late. He was at home. He was not at home. He wasn't at home. She was angry. She was not angry. Or she wasn't angry. I will leave these 5 sentences for you to do them. It was sunny. We were friends. You, the plural form, were noisy. They were happy. The movie was interesting. and this sentence as well. Next one. Again, we will carry on with this practice and please practice yourself. I have written 10 sentences here. Turn them into negative. It might seem easy for you, but practicing will make you perfect and you will not make these mistakes again. Do write the contractions a couple of times as well to make sure that you are contracting them correctly. You are putting apostrophe at the right place and you are removing the space between was and not and were and not. So here are the 10 sentences. Turn them into negative in full form and in contracted form. Your answer was not correct. His dog was not friendly. Her dress was not blue. Our plans were not clear. The food was not good. The game was not easy. The house was not big. The concert was not crowded. My phone was not charged. Now, use contractions was it or weren't to complete the following negative sentences. So, how would you do it? I can see someone attending the lesson. Can you please say hi so that we can communicate? So, the sentences are I blank tired. Should we write here wasn't or weren't? I wasn't tired. You weren't late. He wasn't at home. She wasn't angry. It wasn't sunny. We weren't friends. You weren't noisy. They weren't happy. The movie wasn't interesting. My book wasn't lost. Next one. Again, keep practicing. Your answer wasn't correct. His dog wasn't friendly. Her dress wasn't blue. Our plans weren't clear, the food wasn't good, the game wasn't easy, the house wasn't big, the concert wasn't crowded, my phone wasn't charged, the weather wasn't warm. Now, how to use to be in past tense and make a question. So if the positive sentence is like this, I was. What do you see here? I is a subject and was is the past form of to be. What do we do when we turn it into a question? We reverse the order. So here it was subject plus to be, and in question form, we bring to be first and then comes the subject. As you can see here, it's the other way around here. Was I? I was is turned into was I. Notice one thing. Here we are starting with the capital I, and for was there is a lowercase w. When we bring was first, W is uppercase or the capital form. But I also stays in the capital form. I is always used in capital form. We never use I when we are using I alone like this. It's always capital form unless it's form of a word, for example, ink. Then we will write it in lowercase. Otherwise, if we are writing I as referring to ourselves, we will always use the capital form. That's the exception in capitalization. Was I excited yesterday? So another thing, notice how I'm saying it. Was I excited yesterday? Yesterday? So my voice is rising at the end. So this is how we ask a question to which the answer can be yes or no. Such questions are called yes or no questions. Here, you were. Again, we are reversing the order. We are bringing were first and then you. But notice here, you is starting with a lowercase y. And the same is the case with everything else. Only I is an exception. Were you tired yesterday? And another thing to be noticed is that there is a question mark in the end because we are asking question. He was he? Was he busy yesterday? She was she? Was she busy yesterday? It was it? Was it cold yesterday? We were we? Were we pleased yesterday? You were you? Were you interested yesterday? They were they? Were they happy yesterday? So again, recap. The rule is that always use question mark at the end of a question and reverse the order of to be and subject to make a question. I will always take capital if it is referring to myself and always start a sentence with capital letter. Now we can practice here. Turn this into a question. I was at the park yesterday. Can we write the answer in the chat box? How would you turn it into a question? This time you are turning, your answer is actually a question. I was at the park yesterday. Was I at the park yesterday? And what will you do when you turn it into question? Let's turn it into a question. I'm going to write it. Sorry, was I at the park yesterday? Let's change the color just to differentiate between the statement and the question. Was I at the park yesterday? What did I do here? I brought was before I. I stayed as the capital letter. I started was with the capital letter. Here, as you can see, it's not capital, it's small. But here was is starting with a capital letter and I put the question mark in the end. Question mark is very important in question. Let's turn this sentence into a question. So where's the subject? The kids. This is the subject. So we'll bring were first. We are starting it with capital or uppercase W. Were the kids playing in the yard? She was excited about the concert. Can you turn it into a question? Was she excited about the concert? Question mark. And when you write the question mark. How you say this question mark? You say it by raising your pitch at the end. If it was a question, you will say it like that. Were the kids playing in the yard? Were the kids playing in the yard? Was I at the park yesterday? Yesterday? I don't say yesterday. I say yesterday. So my pitch of my voice is rising at the day. She was excited about the concert. Was she excited about the concert? You were right about the answer. Were you right about the answer? The weather was beautiful last weekend. Was the weather beautiful last weekend? Now turn these three sentences into questions yourself. They were my friends in high school. My favorite book was on the shelf, and the cookies were delicious. Here you have more practice. Would you try turning them into questions? And the sentences are: he was very helpful during the project. We were all surprised by the news. The cat was sleeping on the couch. Our plans were cancelled due to rain. It was a great experience. You were invited to the wedding. The party was fun last night. The flowers were blooming beautifully. Now, how to form questions in negative form. Was I? Will be was I not? Was I not excited yesterday? Were you not? Were you not tired yesterday? So, what are you doing here? There is to be, that's a formula. To be, then comes the subject, and you add not next to it. So, that's the formula. To be plus subject, not. Was I not? Was I not excited yesterday? Were you not tired yesterday? Was he not busy yesterday? Was she not surprised yesterday? Was it not cold yesterday? Were you not pleased yesterday? Were you not interested yesterday? Were you not happy yesterday? Now, here you can see the recap, what we have learned so far. It was the past form of to be. Subject is I, past tense will be was. I was at the store yesterday. For negative, was, and you add not next to it, and you contract it like that. You remove O, you remove the space between was and not, and you bring was, N, and then apostrophe, and after that T. And you say it like that, wasn't. I wasn't late for the meeting. Was I? Was I wrong about that? You were. You were very helpful. You turn into were not or weren't to form negative. You weren't at the party. Were you? Were you at the library? For he, she, it, we use was. This is the positive sentence. She was excited to see them. She was, or he wasn't feeling well. Was it a good movie? Remember, he, she, and it. All of them, we use was with them. We were on time. We weren't prepared for the test. Were we too loud? They were at the concert. They weren't interested in the show. How would you turn into a question? Let me know in the comments. So that was it for the past form of to be. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments, and I will see you next week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Canada time. And next time we will be talking about the exceptions in the use of to be, the unusual way we use to be. So, thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best for your learning process. Happy learning, and see you next week. Bye bye.